Hey there, 6th grade. This video is all about dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is just a fancy phrase for converting units, and so we're going to be converting in both the English and the metric system from one unit to another in this video. Example 1 says a bucket holds 16 quarts, and the question asks how many gallons of water will fill the bucket. And so we're going to use what is called a unit conversion factor to convert from our given units quarts to the end units of gallons. And so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start with what I was given, 16 quarts, and I'm actually going to write that as a fraction. So that's going to be 16 over 1, 16 quarts over 1. And I'll explain in a moment why I did that. From there, I'm going to take a unit conversion factor. A unit conversion factor is just a rate. Okay, it's a rate that allows me to go from quarts to gallons. And so we know that there are 4 quarts and 1 gallon, or you should know that. So the way I'm going to write this is I'm going to write it as 1 gallon per every 4 quarts, or 1 gallon to 4 quarts. This is my rate, or my unit conversion factor. Now you may be asking yourself, why am I writing it with gallon on top and quarts on the bottom? Why not switch it around and put quarts on the top and gallons on the bottom? Well, in order to convert this correctly, I'm going to multiply this conversion factor times my number of quarts here. And just like we can cancel numbers in fractions, when we're doing multiplication, we can also cancel units. My goal is for my quarts units to cancel completely, and so in order for things to cancel when you're multiplying fractions, they have to be diagonal from each other. So when I multiply these here, my quarts are going to disappear because I have 1 in the numerator here and 1 in the denominator here. And what I'm going to be left with is my number of gallons. So I'm going to get, if I do this fraction multiplication here, 16 times 1, which is 16. So I have 16 gallons in the numerator over 1 times 4, which is 4. So 16 over 4 gallons is what I end up with. And we know that 16 divided by 4 can be simplified, and we just get from there 4. So the answer here is 4 gallons. This may seem like an odd way to do this conversion. I'm sure in the past you may have just divided 16 by 4, which is technically what I did here. But I want you to set it up this way because this is going to help you a lot when you get to some more complicated unit conversion factors, especially when you get to 7th and 8th grade science and even high school chemistry. This is going to be a way that your teachers probably teach you how to convert your units. Okay, let's look at number 2. And we're going to do the same thing. This one says a phone service in the United States charges $1.99 per minute for a call to Australia. How many dollars per hour is the phone service charging? So this time we're given a rate. The rate is $1.99 per every 1 minute. So I'm going to write that as a fraction. $1.99 on the top, and on the bottom, 1 minute. My goal is to get from minutes to hours. We're trying to get dollars per hour, and so I need a conversion factor that will take me from minutes to hours. So first of all, I need to make sure that my conversion factor, because minutes is in the denominator here, I need minutes to be diagonal in my conversion factor, so it needs to be in the numerator. And so I need to ask myself, okay, I'm going to have minutes here, and my goal is to get to hours, so hours goes in the bottom. How many minutes are in an hour? Well, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, so my conversion factor is 60 minutes to 1 hour. That's the fraction I'm going to multiply by, 60 over 1. When I do that, my units of minutes will cancel out, and I'm going to be left with dollars on the top per hours is going to be my units on the bottom. So this will take me to dollars per hour, which is what my answer needs to be in. So here I'm going to do 1.99 times 60, And if we do that off to the side, we see that $1.99 times 60 gives us $119.40. So this is 119.40. And then we have a 1 times 1 in the bottom, so that's 1 hour. So the total charge in dollars per hour the phone service is charging is $119.40 per hour. Okay, number 3, this asks us to convert 80 miles per hour to feet per minute. So notice, not only am I changing my miles to feet, I'm also changing my hours to minutes. So let me show you how this works. We're going to start with our rate, our given rate, 80 miles per every 1 hour. 80 miles per every 1 hour. From there, I'm going to multiply by a unit conversion factor that will take me from miles to feet. Miles is on the top here, so I need it to go on the bottom so that those cancel out, and feet is what I'm trying to go to, so that's going to go on the top. I also need to cancel out my hours. I want to go from hours to minutes, so I'm going to multiply by a second conversion factor here. Because hours are in the denominator here, I want them to be in the numerator up here so that my hours cancel each other out. Again, if you want units to cancel, one needs to be in the denominator, the other needs to be in the numerator. And I'm trying to go from hours to minutes, so that's going to go below my hours here. So these two rates here in purple and red are going to be my unit conversion factors. So I know, or I should know again, that the number of feet in a mile are 5,280. So that's 5,280 per every 1 mile. And I also know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So 60 minutes in an hour. Thank you, Mrs. Kerniak, for that wonderful interruption. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply all of my numerators together, noticing that my miles cancel each other out on this diagonal, and my hour here and here cancels out, so I'm left with feet on the top and minutes on the bottom. What I want you to do, 6th grade, is pause the video, and you're going to multiply 80 times 5,280 times 1. So really just 80 times 5,280 on the back of this sheet. Okay, and then once you have an answer for that, please click play to check and see if you got that part right for feet. Okay, if you did that correctly, 80 times 5,280, you should have gotten 422,400. So this is 422,400 feet. And then in the denominator, we have 1 times 60, so that's 60 minutes. So this is 422,400 feet per every 60 minutes. The last thing we need to do is figure out how many feet per 1 minute this is. So we need to make it a unit rate, which is what the question is asking. So that means dividing the denominator by itself, 60, and also the numerator by 60. So one more time, 6th grade, I'm going to ask you to pause the video, and on the back of this sheet, I want you to work the problem 422,400 divided by 60. Once you have an answer for that, click play to check it. Okay, if you did that correctly, you should have 7,040 for your answer. So this is 7,040 feet per 1 minute. 7,040 feet per minute. Okay, the last problem, number 4, says that the climate observer missed its target altitude of about 145 kilometers above Mars during its entry into orbit. Instead, its altitude was 57 kilometers, where it was destroyed by the Martian atmosphere. How many feet above Mars is 145 kilometers? Okay, so notice in this problem that they're asking us how many feet above Mars is 145 kilometers. So really, all they're asking us to do is to convert 145 kilometers to feet. They've given us some unessential information in this problem. The unessential information is this part right here, the altitude 57 kilometers. That really isn't necessary for me to do this problem. All I need to know is that they want me to convert from 145 kilometers to feet. So to do this, I'm going to write 145 kilometers as a fraction, 145 over 1. I'm going to use a unit conversion rate, and my unit conversion rate is from what I gave you here. 1 kilometer is equivalent to 0.62 miles. Kilometers is in the numerator here, so here it's going to go in the denominator so that those cancel. And then we need miles above that. And again, this is saying that it's 0.62 miles for every 1 kilometer. So when I multiply these kilometers, those units will cancel out, and I will be left with miles. So I need to do 145 times 0.62. Okay, 145 times 0.62 for my numerator. One more time, I want you to pause the video and work this out, 145 times 0.62, and then once you have an answer for that, click play to check. Okay, if you did that correctly, you should have gotten 89.9. And so that means that this original number, 145 kilometers, was equivalent to 89.9 miles. Okay, 6th grade, any questions you had over this video, make sure you have those written down so that you can ask your teacher the next time you're in class. Until then, have a nice day. You're all wonderful people. Take care.